into that a little bit later. Now, I'm going to pass over to Kevin, because Kevin's going to just talk about colour, because as I was explaining earlier, and Kevin mentioned, most of our bass fishing is at night, and for very, very good reason. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it's just a fact that when you switch the lights off, colour, you can't see it. So now we're working on the grey shade theory, and I'll pass you over to Kevin.
Like I mentioned earlier, I've not really done a great deal with this. It's only like a matter of months. Okay? What I'll do is I'll pass this folder around in a few minutes, and you can have a quick look for yourself. And some of you might find it interesting, a lot of you just go, well, I don't understand any of that anyway, but we'll go through it in a moment anyway. The main thing that what we found last night, and you should have noticed it before, going from the grayscale white through to black, and obviously this middle band here, smack bang in the middle. We was looking last night and we noticed that our top colours, when we go fishing at night, tend to be like a bluey purple, green, and an orange are our three main top colours, with pink coming in a very close second. And having looked at all these under a grayscale, they virtually all fall in that section right there. Now, it's just blown my mind, because we were like looking at, we're on fish and we're going, green's hot, green's hot, green's hot. You lose your green one, oh, man, okay, I'll go to blue because that's my next best colour. That's what I've had most fish on again, other than that. So you put blue on, you're not quite confident, but you're still catching a few fish. You might lose that, or you go, okay, I'll try an orange. And again, you're catching fish. But we've just realised they're all, as soon as you get that light level at a certain period, they actually all are the same bloody colour. So it makes no difference. So you've got a whole bag of different colours, but you're still fishing in the same colour. So it's just like, okay. So now we're going to look at finding a range of colours that will go, don't want black, black is too harsh. So it might be like a dark blue. Another one that will colour in here, which could be a dark red. Another one that will sit here, and so on and so on. So when we take 5 colours out, they are covering at least 5 spectrums of the grey shade. Most of the time we'll fish on a new moon, so it's completely black. Even though it's completely black, you've always got some surrounding light from stars, offshore lights, something. You've also got the reflective, or secondary reflective light coming from the ground. That can either be sand, or reef, or some kind of weed. You still get some light from. If I just pass this folder around, you can have a look and see what's going on.
We're not going to actually explain this folder. Just pass it around and just have a look, and you'll be going.
Yeah. Hang on, let's just take it.
So just while Kevin's sorting that out, as he was explaining to you just a second ago, we were playing around with this shade of green, this shade of pink, and this shade of blue. Thinking we were being smart, carrying 3 different colours, can't go wrong. But at night, when you actually look through this thing, they're all this shade of grey. So effectively, what we're going to try and do this year is we're not going to take colours at all. We're going to instead work in the grey scale to actually more effectively cover the band. So we've got a light one, a medium one, and a dark one, rather than coming a cropper and perhaps carrying 4 or 5 colours that might all be the same.
I'm just going to pass this around. Feel free just to, if you don't want to look, then that's fine. What you'll see is possibly a background colour and a colour in the middle. Also, you've got a grayscale across the top there, and all these on the bottom are all different raw colours. And just try and determine for yourself under a grayscale if you can just figure out any of the colours that we determine in your own interpretation of what colour it could be in the grayscale. And once we passed it around, we'll show you quickly, hopefully, an idea that'll just like open your eyes a little bit to like the way colour might work at night.
We're not going to bang on about this too much because it is, you know, like I say, this is new to us too. But if you look at the background gradient there, it goes from dark to light. But actually, if you look at the middle strip of grey, you won't actually believe this, but that middle strip of grey is actually the same colour all the way through. It's just your perception of that colour changes depending on the background that it's against. Does that make sense? Because it didn't make sense to us. As the ball goes around,
I'll pass it round and then I'll put in the...
Yeah, there's a thing that we'll show you there, that those different colours of...
Yeah, they're there, I've taken them out, so people can have a look to see all the different colours, then I'll put in...
So that's the same with this?
Yeah,
Yes,
pass it round
exactly
and
the same.
then
That
then I'll
blue,
put...
that blue that's in the middle is exactly the same colour all the way through the strip. Only your perception of the colour is changing based upon its background. Now, there is a reason that we have chosen to talk about colour. It's because even though we are placing a huge emphasis on this perception of colour right now, it is somewhere right down at the bottom of what we consider to be important when we're bass fishing with lures. Colour comes, I don't even know where it is in the list.
I have no idea, there's so many, you've got like A to Z and we're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so we would consider being with the bass the main priority. So of course getting to the bass for us is a huge thing. When we get where the bass are, presentation becomes the next most important thing, and then profile, and then lack of action, because we want the water to do the work, and stealth, making sure that it's as dark as possible, making sure that there's bait fish there, making sure that the wind is in the right direction, making sure that we're using the right weight and the right line. Colour comes way, 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 way down the list. But
Still an
it
important
still
factor.
matters because so many people put such an emphasis on lure colour as being so important. And we're not saying that it doesn't matter. We're saying that actually, if your eyes can be fooled so easily into believing that what you're looking at there isn't real, or bass aren't concerned about what colour your lure is. That's the last thing on their mind. They will see something that represents something that's in the water all the time that they eat, and if you present it in a way that is natural and doesn't spook them, and you are stealthy, they will attempt to eat your lure. Now, again, this might grind with some people here that are bait fishermen. Believe me, we are bait fishermen too. I've spent years fishing live baits and big dead baits for bass. There is absolutely, I'm going to put my head on the block and actually make a statement that we believe is true. There is no difference between this piece of wood and a dead mackerel, as far as a bass is concerned, until the minute that it puts it in its mouth. So, if you cast this stick into the water, and my brother casts a mackerel of the same size into the water, and they both make a splash, and we're both fishing where bass are, and bass come to investigate it, and bass go to suck the lure or the mackerel towards them, the only time the bass will know that this is not edible is when it's already put it in its mouth. The concepts of slow contact and HRF and having, knowing what your lure is doing means that whether the bass picks up the mackerel or the bass picks up the piece of wood, is you are now aware that it has happened and you are able to react. This is where we will lead into soft plastics.